What's up, fellas? Welcome back to another episode of the Dale Federico Show. This week, week four recap of the JV Loop. Our boys, well, my boys, the JV Welland Warriors finally get their first win of the year. Let's go! Huge showing by the boys. Now onto a tough week. But let's recap all the games. Here's the commissioner, Vince Angelini. Yes, here we go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another recap. We have Vince Angelini on the commish. How you doing today,
What's up,
Vince?
buddy?
Another week,
Good,
another
man.
JV with Loop wrapped up.
Yeah, I'm you know what, it's kind of disappointing though. Like we've only got, this week and then the bowl games and it's done, right? So
Yeah.
but pretty excited. Like I mean, the season's, gone really well so far. So excited for that bowl week.
Yeah, this was actually like, it was such a fast week, and all the kids are asking, like telling me, they're like, "Man, we wish we had more." But that means they just have to come
Hmm.
back next year and play again. You know what I
Let's
mean?
do it.
But yeah, like
Yeah, no,
this
for sure.
this was for sure a successful week. Successful year in your eyes,
Yeah.
100%, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, I truly believe that. Like I said, because we didn't get the eight teams that we wanted, but that's okay. But we're almost at 270 kids, which is massive. That's huge, and I only expect it to go up from there. So yeah, it's a win.
Yeah, 100%. This, especially like with my team, we just have new kids coming every week. It feels like every day, and then, like, even,
Yeah.
like this is for sure a growing league. Next year, you're gonna see. I bet you guys get that eighth team next year.
Yeah, you know what? It's just a matter of time, right? And
Hmm.
I can see us going. I can see us being at the 300 mark.
Hmm.
If we're going to get that eighth team, we're going to be at 300 kids. So that's it's just very successful, and you'll see it in the fall. You'll see those teams with those players just getting better, and you're able to, those high schools will just be able to kind of put them in without hesitation now.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about before we get into the recap. Let's get into the Niagara Generals. Another successful weekend.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So our Bantam Generals put down the Huskies this weekend, 45 nothing. So put up the big donut on D, and then just keep trucking on the offensive side. So they're just really rolling right now, and hopefully they continue that all the way to the end.
Oh man, they're killing it. How did the single A's do today this week? Did they play this week?
They did. So just going back, so the Adams and the Peewees had a bye week this week, so they didn't play. But for single A, the Bantams lost tight one 30-22,
Oof.
and yeah, and the Peewees took it on the chin a bit. They lost 40-8.
Oof. All right, but
So
still, it's still a positive week though for the Bantam double A team.
absolutely, yeah,
So
no, 100%. Like
we'll
I said,
take that. We'll take that.
oh yeah, I expect them to go right to the end. You know what I mean? Like I expect them to be there at the end.
100%. The Niagara Generals led by Chris Lundy,
That's right,
the, the
the
great, the
Godfather.
greatest, the Godfather. Let's get it now into the JV loop. Let's start with West
Yeah,
Niagara versus Meyer White. Meyer White, absolutely. Like West Niagara, I gotta say, played a better second half than first half.
yeah,
West Niagara, though, they just kept on going harder and harder
yeah.
each drive, each play. And your son just absolutely had a game too. He just couldn't be tackled. Christian McCaffrey out there.
Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, for sure. 36-21 for Meyer Wedding. You're right. Like West Niagara just really didn't give up, and they just you know, kept trying to pound the ball, and they put up 21 points, right? So that's not an easy thing to do on Meyer White. But that won't happen next week. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
We're,
You won't be
we're,
putting up 21 points on Meyer White next week.
we're coming to play spoiler next week.
That's
That's so.
right.
Let's actually go into that game. The Welland Warriors finally get their win against the St. Catharines Red, 20-6. That was a good
Yeah.
game. Should have been a bigger score, I gotta say, for us, but Still got a lot of things to fix on that offense. Noah Wellard, program saver.
The Noah Wellard effect, right? The guy comes in, a few days practice and boom, right? Just like that.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
was that was
that's a big deal.
yeah. He's a bit. And he's just so composed too in the pocket, and
Hmm.
that O line. He got beat up in the first drive. He got beat up in the first drive for sure. Noah Wellard, but he came out and kept it consistent in the second half. But I think this week we're gonna build off what we just did. And hopefully build on it tougher because this is gonna be the toughest week. This is supposed to be the toughest week of the season for us. Myra White. Best of the
Yeah,
best. We're trying to play spoilers so Meyer White doesn't go to the Natty, the Niagara
yeah.
Natty.
Yeah,
We're
and
trying
you
to
know
play.
what though? I was just gonna say, like, so you get a guy like Noah coming in, right? First week with the offense, trying to learn what you guys are doing, and with the whole new set of guys there, right? So that's a big deal, right? So I expect to see an even better Noah Willard in week 2.
Yeah, 100%. I'm shocked that like I'm actually pretty happy. Not shocked, but I'm pretty happy at how he did, how his performance was, especially only having like 3 days of practice and learning the
Yeah,
playbook. And those 3 days, I was like, okay. And then he was
yeah,
comfortable too. Like he was telling us, like, yo, which charts run this. Like he was giving us good feedback too on like what he likes to run and stuff too, like in the middle of the games. And I was like, oh, this he studied it. He studied that playbook.
yeah. And I'm sure if you ask guys around, guys that know him, they probably won't be surprised that he did as well as he did. I've seen him in the fall, and he played. He was really good, and the team around him wasn't the greatest. You know what I mean? And he led that team. So yeah, kudos to him. He's a good ball player.
He also looks good in the Notre Dame jersey. I was making the joke all the time. I was like, oh, you might have to
Uh-oh.
transfer.
Uh-oh. We don't talk about that. I'm not saying anything. Nope.
Let's go to St. Catherine's Black versus Meyer Purple. Meyer Purple put a beating on 32 nothing. I think that was like the only is that the only big win we've seen this year? Because every game has been pretty close, right? Like even we've seen shutouts like my team got shut out 22 nothing, but 32 nothing.
Yeah, and I think what a part of that too was had to do with Meyer Black missing some players. Like I was saying to you earlier, there's a bunch of stuff going on last week with frisbee and a couple other sports, pulling kids away. So and then probably some injuries too. So they were a bit thin, and then Meyer Purple kind of took advantage of that. So
Yeah, 100%. Those guys, the St. Catherine's Black, they missed most of their big players, big stars.
yeah, man, number 98. I was looking
Mhm.
for that kid on the field and he was like nowhere to be found. So I'm not sure whether he was, at some other sport or he was injured or whatnot. But yeah, because every time he's there, man, he's always
Game
making
record.
catches, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
game changer.
For sure.
And then they needed him this week, but they're about to play against G Fest next week. That's gonna be the final
Hmm.
game. We're actually going into the final week of the season. That's
Yeah.
crazy. It went already went just went like that. I always say
Yeah,
been
man.
a blast. But we got Meyer White versus Welland. Is that your game of the week?
That's my game of the week right there. That's the banger of the week.
Let's go.
So I expect the stands to be
Yeah,
full with fans. So
that game's at 6:30. Is there any way we can flex that to an 8:30 p.m. under the lights?
maybe I'll just
NBC in
ask
the
them to turn
house.
the lights on early.
We got Meyer
Yeah.
White versus Weller next week, and we got G Fest at G Fest against St. Catherine's Black. We only got 2 games this week. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
banger. Thursday night
Mm,
classics, final week of
yes.
the regular season, and then we go into the bowl games. But let's take a live look at the standings right now. Meyer Purple 4-0.
Hmm.
Meyer White 3-0. The Welland Warriors are trying to play spoiler to take them, not make sure they don't go to that natty for an all Meyer matchup. Got G Fest. If G Fest wins, maybe they could take Meyer White's spot depending on what the differential is. St. Catherine's Red 1-3. West Niagara 1-3. Welland 1-2, and St. Catherine's Black 0-3. St. Catherine's Black is trying to play spoiler too, trying to get their first win of the season. So I think this is gonna be
Yeah, it's going to be tough though. That's going to be tough against GFS, right?
yeah.
But I think they're missing a few guys too. GFS this week, so hey, anything can happen, right?
Yeah,
They can
100%.
go in there and sneak one out, but if I was a betting man, bet 99 or whatever those bet websites are, I'd I take GFS.
G-Fesh money line. He's taking it.
I'll give you the points and I'll take GFS.
Let's go. It's gonna
Yeah.
be like G-Fesh probably favored it, probably minus 500. Taking that money line for G-Fesh against St. Just Black. But then Meyer White, that game though, like that's gonna be an exciting end of the year. That's probably like the best matchup you can get. You got two teams trying to knock each other off. Meyer Purple already destroyed us this year. We're trying to make vengeance now for the other Meyer team. It's gonna be a good
Yeah.
show, I gotta say.
For sure. And I mean, like I said before too, like, a lot of these guys, these kids grew up playing against each other, or sorry, playing with each other, and then, in high school playing against each other. So that rivalry's there, and so emotions will be high, and kids will be ready to play.
Yeah, because they don't really get that anymore unless it's like the Niagara Championship. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like for like
exactly.
the
You gotta wait
Niagara
till the
Bowl.
end.
Yeah, so you have to wait till the end. So this is perfect. Like that's why we were so fired. Like the kids were so fired up in week one when we played against Meyer Purple because they grew up playing the Generals. Same thing with Meyer White. They grew up playing in the system at the Generals.
Hmm.
Now they get to go see each other on the field again. It's honestly, it's got to be a blast for them, you know? They're probably talking smack on like Instagram or Snapchat, whatever they're doing. And then
Oh,
at
I'm
that,
sure they are.
then at the end of the
Yeah,
game, whatever the scoreboard is, they all hug each other and they're all taking photos. Like, this is what Niagara football has missed. I've been saying it
yeah.
since we've been doing this weekly show. The rivalries and the guys growing up playing against each other.
Yeah. So let's, hopefully we can build on that, for next year too, right? So, and we can continue doing that. So, because you're right, like, people think, well, it's just a, spring league high school game, but it's a little bit more than that, right? So, and you can see the emotions, in those kids, that rivalry, and they've played against each other, they played with each other. So, yeah, it gets anxious at times, and but it makes for really good football.
Yeah, it makes for a great football. It makes for
Hmm.
amazing football. Like, what is it? I was walking out of that Meyer Purple game and I was just hearing on the side. I was eavesdropping on a parents' conversation, obviously. I was just walking right by. And they said that was a great game when we played against them week one. Like, they felt that. Like, if the parents are
Yeah,
feeling that, just think of just any people driving their car around and they probably see this game at Meyer, pull up in the parking lot and they're like, oh, this is a fire game. This is going to be an elect.
yeah,
Like, this is a nice football game. And that's what Meyer Wayne versus Welland is going to be this week. It's going to be fireworks.
yes, yes. I expect that for sure,
Especially,
100%.
yeah. Especially like all these kids grow up in the same system. You have like Welland parents sitting with the Meyer parents, because they grew up traveling to games together and stuff like that. So bringing basically the whole family, the whole Jerry Rules family together this week on Thursday.
Yeah, you got it. You got it,
So
man.
so let's go into your three players of the week. We had a lot of good
Yes.
talent after I was looking at all the games. Who's your
Yeah.
third star of the
So
week?
so actually I'll start with Liam Armstrong. So Liam Armstrong is on Meyer Purple, and again, the end, fast kid, um, tall but not really big. But man, he's strong, and he had a scoop and score.
Oh yeah.
He was in the backfield like multiple times, just causing havoc. So that QB from St. Catherine's Black was just he was on the run, steady, and just couldn't get his feet settled, and you know what I mean, so that he could throw a really good ball. So Liam's one of my stars this week.
Game record right there. Great game record. So you like to see
Yeah.
what grade is he in? Sorry if I asked.
Liam is in grade 11, and
Okay.
this is really his second year playing
Football?
football. He's a soccer kid,
Oh yeah.
right? So he's a very very talented soccer guy. And yeah, he came out last year and was doing wonders, and we put him at the end this spring, and it's like wow, he's been pretty lights out.
Buchanan's gonna love that next year,
He loves that. He loves it already. Never mind, he loves it
eh?
already.
Who
Yeah.
who is who's your second star of the week?
So I'm splitting my second, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna get two guys.
Oh,
Yeah. So same team. Um, so the first one is Colby Green,
okay.
and I love that name. Colby Green's the quarterback at West Niagara.
He
So
he was actually, I gotta say, sorry to cut you off there, but he
yeah,
looked great in that pocket. He was getting pressured a lot and he still looked poised.
he did absolutely. And So he had a touchdown taken back. I can't remember what the call was. So he had a rushing touchdown taken back. He had a touchdown pass. He set up a 1 yard touchdown run on a like a looked like a 50 yard, 50 to 60 yard pass. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and this was a kid, I think I've mentioned him before, and I know Silverthorne's mentioned it to me. So, they found this kid last year. He just showed up to JV Loop. He wanted to try out. He's a baseball hockey kid, and he
Okay.
wanted to see if he could play. Came out, and they're like, "Here you go," right? And
That's
I think his
awesome.
season got cut short last year, but yeah, they got a winner in that kid.
That's awesome. That's a
This
great find.
It is a good find, and that's the thing, right? So when you can find something like that, through playing through JV Loop, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I mean, you probably wouldn't have tried out, and then you probably would have thought, coming to high school is like, forget it. You know what I mean? I got
Hmm.
no experience. I've got no this, and that's it, right? So
That's what makes the JV loop so special.
yeah, no, for sure. So my second one is part of that team, and I'm just trying to get his name here. It's Sheldon Phillips. So,
Great
and you've
name.
mentioned him before.
Yeah.
Sheldon Phillips, he's the running back there at West Niagara. I think he had two touchdowns on Thursday night. He rushed
He's
a couple in there. So again, just nonstop running. Kept his feet moving and just kind of didn't matter if he was going in the middle or outside. You know, he was grinding.
Yeah, he's a hard runner too. Like he just
Mhm.
he runs with so much speed. You try to run in front of that, you're going in front of a truck. You are
Yeah,
getting
no, for
blown
sure.
up. And he's a smart. How he hits the gaps and stuff like that too. And he's not what I like to say. Like I don't know. This is how I just say it. He's not a dumb player. He is smart. He knows how to hold
Hmm.
the ball with two hands right when he before contact. Knows how to blow up gaps, and he just knows how to run with so much passion, and that's going to make him good. I think this West Niagara team in the fall is going to be pretty good. Like these players coming out of West Niagara are going to be pretty special.
Yeah, like I mean football's well in West Niagara. They've got some
Hmm.
they've got some players. They've got some really good athletes out there, and these two are in grade 11, from what I understand. And football's good in West Niagara.
Football is safe in West Niagara. Who
That's
is
right.
your first star of the week?
So my first star is a kid out of St. Mike's, Ashton Nyadiwa. So he's the right tackle, and he plays interior D line. But he had a great game for Meyer Purple on the O line, right? So he was great in the pass pro, great in the run block. So I mean, you can tell by the score, right?
Yeah,
He was just kind of dominating guys, and yeah. So he's my third star, and then he had a solid game on D, right? And he played
yeah.
both ways, and you know.
He
So yeah, and a really
dominated
good kid.
dominated the trenches.
Yeah,
That's what you like to
absolutely.
see. I really hope like he's in what grade is he in? Sorry, did you say?
I think he's in grade 11.
Grade 11. So I hope
Hmm.
St. Mike's, Marco Antonelli, shout out to him. Mark Antonelli.
Hmm.
He's trying
Yeah.
to rebuild that program at St. Mike's, bring a culture back. So they just won their touch football championship for high school or flags
St.
once.
Paul's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And hopefully they have a good year this year. Hopefully. I'm rooting for them.
They've got some good pieces there. Like,
Mhm.
like we talked about Bertone. Ashton's another one. There's another kid there. I think it's Caden Phillips, I think his last name is. Tall cornerback, receiver kind of kid, and he can hit. He's not scared to hit.
Good.
So yeah, they've got some good pieces there. McCray's still there. I'm not sure if he's done next year, but the little McCray's there. So they got some good pieces there for sure.
I'm rooting them. I'm rooting for them, and honestly, I just hope the whole Catholic board has a good year this year. I know it's been sloppy for the last couple of years, but
Yeah,
after watching the talent that I've seen in this JV loop, and even just looking around the Niagara region for kids that are not even playing in this league, public and Catholic board, they look fine. They look perfect. They look so
yeah,
safe for years to come, and it's going to be awesome. But I'm really hoping the Catholic board has another good year. I'm a Catholic board from a Catholic former Catholic student, St. Paul.
yeah.
Let's go
No,
Patriots.
and at the end of the day too, it's there's so many factors that contribute to that, to football success at both Catholic and the public, and you can't not talk about the coaching, and the support that those guys have, or if or they don't have. So they really need that support, from other coaches, within their organization. They need to, they need support from the school, the principal, and everybody. Right? It takes a whole community, and I really hope that they can get back on their feet. But you want them to be where they were before, right?
Yeah, 100,
Um,
1000%.
so
And I think the one step they could do that, bring you back to the old days, make public schools play against Catholic schools. Have it one
I
division with a couple like have it one league, couple divisions like one and two, division one, division two, just like the old days.
yeah,
That was prime football in Niagara, I gotta say. When I was a kid, my brothers played against like in that against Catholic schools, against public schools, prime football.
yeah. No, I agree. And like I said, I think I probably mentioned that to you. Like, it just takes, for the amount of work it took to kind of dissolve that.
Yeah.
It's going to take that much work and even more to kind of bring that back together. There's just so many things to kind of iron out and figure out. Um, but it can be done. But it just, again, they need to bring everybody to the table, and everybody needs to be in agreement.
Mhm.
And they got to work on that. But until that happens, it's probably just going to be the way it is.
But that's all right because the Niagara Bowl is still exciting every year. Every time you hear about the Niagara Bowl, it's still
That's
exciting.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got the JV loop. We'll take care of it. Don't worry
we'll
about it.
take- that's what I talk about. There we go.
Yeah,
The JV
let's
loop. If you
go.
want to see Catholic versus public, come to the JV loop.
Let's do it. Yeah, for sure. Why not? We can do it that way if they
Yeah.
want to do that.
They want to do it for a nice little 4 week season in the spring and have the kids come together and battle it out. That could
Yeah,
that could
no,
for sure be arranged.
absolutely. But again, it just takes that commitment. It takes commitment from the coaches, and they need that staff. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a big staff there yourself, and so you can't do it by yourself. Just like
Yeah.
you look at Meyer, and how many guys come out and help out and are there helping out Coach B and Coach Pep and everybody. So that needs to happen, or else none of this happens.
Yeah, 100%. You need a lot of guys. I was lucky that I got a bunch of the boys. They just love the coach and they just love football. So I got pretty lucky because if I try to do this by myself, oh my God, no way, no way. You need a support staff to help you make your team better. 100%.
Yeah, and the kids deserve it too. Like,
Yeah.
you can't give them that football education that they need and deserve with just a couple guys. You need multiple guys, running practice, and doing all those kinds of things, or else it's just not going to be successful.
Yeah, 100%. And also have fun with them too. They're not like what I said with us. We kind of like a light loose team. They're all
Hmm.
jokesters. They're all funny guys. And but when it does get serious, when they lock in, that's not time to kill. But during the week in practice, we kind of keep it light, keep it fun, keep it hitting too, like hard.
Hmm.
And then when it comes game time, we don't even have to like think that they won't be locked in. They're going to be locked in, and that's why I really like to see. That's why I really like to see from these Notre Dame boys, even the Stanford kids on the
Hmm.
on the team. They they're ballers. They are
Yeah,
absolute ballers, and I don't know if there's a lot of eyes on the public Division two school league. I don't know if there's a lot of eyes. I didn't even know Stanford had a team back until Coach Randy was on our staff and he was talking to me about it. And by the way, great coach. Shout out Coach Randy. But I don't know if there's a lot of eyes on that Division two for the public board, but if there isn't, there's one kid that's really been blowing me away from Stanford this year, and he came in late. I think he came in at week two. His name's
that
Nick.
was the other brother, right?
Oh no,
Was it the
those
brother,
so we have two.
the
We have
twins?
also have we have ballers. Deveroy and Big E. We call him Big E Elijah.
Yeah.
Those guys are ballers, but there's one kid that came in late. His name is Nick Hunter. He's an edge rusher, complete
Okay.
beast, complete game changer. So surprised that we're just seeing that because he was coming in late. We didn't know what he was all about. He wanted to try different positions, so we're trying him out at different positions. But when he does play, he's a like a baller. Same with Deveroy and Big Elijah. Like those guys are ballers. I think this Stanford team, if there's no eyes on it, someone got to get some eyes on it because these kids deserve the exact same chance that Meyer does. Meyer probably actually this league brings eyes to those Stanford kids, but with the Myers and with those, keep the same eyes on them because I don't know if there's any eyes on like Eden right now or whatever this Division Two is. This is the first time I've actually heard of the Division Two, but whatever it
Hmm.
is, these Stanford kids got to get an eye on them, and so happy they're playing JV Loop. And I told them too last week, I go, you guys got to keep on playing this league because you're gonna get some eyes on you soon.
Yeah, and Coach Randy, I just met Coach Randy this year through Coach Buchanan, and he seems like a really good guy, and it sounds like that program at Stanford's in really good hands with him. Um, so I'm happy about that, and and I was saying like to some of the guys on our team, some of the Wesleyan kids, I'm like, I'm coming out to watch you guys this year,
Yeah,
so I need to, I'll be DMing you guys trying to figure out when you guys are playing because I'm just excited, and some of these guys have just turned into some of my favorite players on our team on defense, so I want to support those guys and I want to, and I want to see that, that they've gotten so much better. Right. And
yeah,
so the same with, this Hunter kid and these other guys from Stanford, right? Like that's a big deal. And then, you, you kind of coach them enough through the season and you kind of, you find a place for them kind of, inside and you're like, man, you want to see these guys do really well. So
100%.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm
pretty
probably
awesome.
whenever I get a chance, I'm gonna go back to that old Stanford field, probably watch a game, and just to see the Stanford boys ball, because man, they've been actually a big part in our defense, because our defense is filled with Notre Dame kids and a couple of Centennial kids, but the they've been the anchor to this defense this year with coming in with the subs when someone's tired and they're making a play right when they get subbed on or stuff like that. If we didn't have depth like that, we would not be one of the better defenses in the league, I don't think. So these I gotta give my
Right.
props to the Stanford boys.
Shout out Stanford. Let's go.
Shout out Stanford Collegiate. Here we go.
Yeah.
You have anything else you want to talk about for this week?
No, I mean, like just getting ready for the last week of the regular season, and so pretty excited about that. But on the other side too, the bowl's coming, and football's going to end for a bit, and it'll just be training and training and more training.
Yeah.
Maybe hit a few camps with my kid, but um, other than that, just always ready to talk football,
Yeah.
and you know, yeah, that's it, man.
It's gonna
Game of
be
the
great.
week.
You,
Game of the
big
week.
week. Gonna be playing against you 6:30 at A and Meyer. You're coaching what, the
Let's
defense
go.
this week too?
I'm helping with the defense. Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's see how our defenses go. Let's
Let's
do it.
go. I got
Oh,
a few tricks for you. Don't worry.
let's do it. I am pumped. All right. Thank you for coming on, Vince. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you next week and good luck this week against the Welland Warriors.
Awesome. You too, buddy. Thank
All
you.
right. Take care.